Welcome back, everybody. My name is Ken, and this is the, I think, 10th episode?
10th episode.
10th episode of Clicks and Bricks with Ken and Brian. Ken Cox, again, 314-370-2871. If you can put that up here on the screen for me, guys, I would appreciate it. That is my text message number. If you want to be part of my personal community, you get text messages from me, tips and tricks, motivational stuff, kind of whatever I feel like that day.
Awesome. My name's Brian. Welcome back again. Really excited for our 10th episode. Only 90 more to go to hit the goal that we talked about.
100. Yeah, we've committed to 100 episodes of Clicks and Bricks.
10% of where our goal is.
Wow, that's going to be done before we know it.
Right. It feels like yesterday we just started.
Yes, absolutely.
Right. So as usual, today's topic, the first thing we'll be talking about, we already said that part, the topic.
Yep.
About social media sucks and why it sucks. But we have to start with our between the cubicles. And you're the highlight of this one today, right? We're gonna talk about
so today I was a guest on another podcast, which is super much fun. Super much fun? I guess I don't know how to talk today. But I was a guest on The Thoughtful Entrepreneur today, which was a lot of fun for me. The episode's not going to air until late first quarter, so sometime at the end of March that they're going to air that. But it was on upmyinfluence.com. They have a podcast called The Thoughtful Entrepreneur, and I was on there today with Jen. She was a great host, had a lot of fun. It was over Zoom, so I got to do it from this room.
There you go.
Promote this podcast a little bit, talk about host steering and the services that we offer and our direction, a little bit about our past and how we came to our current direction and some of the bumps and bruises along the way, and how that's helped shape our business today.
Awesome.
So it was a great time. And then shout out to, if you're looking to book on podcasts, and I think booking yourself on podcasts is a great way to grow your business. Look up, and we're not affiliated at all, but I do use them as a service, and it's podcastguest.com. I have a membership. Brian has a membership.
Yes.
It's a great platform to reach out to other podcasters and get booked on their shows. Right. All the podcasters are looking for guests all the time. We've not done guests yet. We're kind of debating on if we want to do guests on Clicks and Bricks. We're not really an interview kind of channel. Yes. Maybe we'll do a Clicks and Bricks interview as a separate segment. I'm not sure yet how we're going to do it, but
it could be a segment.
It could be a different segment, yeah. But it's been, it was a whole lot of fun. Podcast guest hooked it up. They got me this spot in a little bit of no time. It's $10 a month for an account with podcast guests. So
you got to take it seriously too, though. Right? So you have to fill out your profile to get serious with your questions. You want to ask you.
You should look at it like your LinkedIn profile, or literally like you're trying to get a job. Right? I mean,
pretty much.
Up My Influence, I had to go on an interview. They had to talk to me first. They looked at our podcast and before they approved us, because it's got, that particular podcast had a quarter million viewers that listen to it regularly. So. A huge thing for your business. So for me, years ago, one of my consultants said, you got to get into podcasting. It's the wave of the future and all this stuff. I really didn't know even what the hell he meant right at the time. So, but I took the advice and we kept researching it and figured out how to get through some of the stuff.
Well, we've been talking about this for easily a year. Me and you.
Yeah, and how to figure it out. And, I guess a year ago we were in a different office. We didn't really have room to do it. We were like really, really cramped. But now we got a big new office space, and we have extra rooms in that office space to do this kind of thing in. So that helps tremendously. And that's saying, I probably should have just grabbed a cell phone and did it without the space prior. But, live and learn.
It's part of the journey.
It is part of the journey, yes.
So without giving away the topics, I know the show has not aired yet.
Correct.
What can you tell us about this that won't give anything away from your guest appearance today?
So I'd say what I did learn through the entire process is a fantastic process for booking people on podcasts. They were extremely professional throughout the entire time. From the time that I requested to be on their podcast to the time I went on, I think they gave me a series of 6 different videos to watch to prepare myself for it.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and I had a pre-interview to talk about what we were going to talk about, approved questions, things like that. And throughout the entire time, it was fantastic. I would say the biggest thing that I think that they failed on was it didn't send me a calendar event to get it booked on my calendar, so I had to remember that it was, at the specific time.
In that time frame.
And that booking, yeah. So, and I probably should have put it on my calendar myself, but I just felt that was, when I got in this morning, I knew I had booked it. I was looking at all of my calendars. I'm like, wait a second, I don't see it anywhere. I had to search for the email and pull it up. But
I can see that.
That was my only negative of the entire thing, and they very well might have sent me a calendar reminder, and I just missed it. I get a couple thousand emails a day, so I do occasionally miss an email. If I think I've already got it, I kind of move it to my archive pretty quickly. So, but it was super fun.
You live by your calendar. You respect the calendar.
Absolutely. So I think the biggest thing that I learned was I went on a podcast. I know 200 to 250,000 people are going to watch that or listen to that podcast or watch it, one of the two. And my goal that I set at the beginning of 2021 was to be on 12 podcasts as a guest throughout 2021. And I think as I normally do, I set my goal way too low, right? Because the process of, from the time that I applied to the time I booked was probably 45 days. And then before it airs, it's going to be another 30 to 40 days, maybe even 60 days. So I think whenever I first started this, I'm going to go out and be a guest on other people's podcasts. I think where I really screwed up is I thought, I can just do one a month and it'll be okay. I think I really need to shoot for 2 to 4 a month and do one try to do one a week was where I need to try to be.
That's going to be challenging right there. To put that.
It'll definitely conflict. My wife's going to want me to do vacations and stuff with the family, and if I book all the way through, then I might have to take a break from a vacation and go do a podcast. But with today's technology, I mean
you got Zoom, right?
It's totally feasible, right? Yeah, I can do a podcast.
You can Zoom over the internet.
Yeah, I think I can literally do be a guest as a podcast on my cell phone with Zoom. So.
That's awesome.
I think I probably overthought it a little bit too much and thought it would be more preparation, but it went super smooth. It was very relaxed. It was more kind of like this. It was a conversation that was recorded.
There you go.
That's about it. So
first time's always the hardest. I mean, that's the most anxiety-filled time because you don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And that's like with almost anything. Right?
Yeah, and I don't feel like I had anxiety about it. I just felt like it was going to be more work than it was. And it ended up being wildly enjoyable. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm glad you had a great experience on Thoughtful Entrepreneur. I'm definitely excited about your insight that you got from it because I need to step my goal up and make sure that I think I'm going to try to do the same thing. I think I'm going to try to get on more podcasts and I'm in conversation with someone, but we really haven't got to the interviewing stage yet. So, just like booking part has been kind of challenging.
Yeah, I think it's like when you're looking for a job, you don't.
Right.
I applied for one. I went through the whole process. I got on the podcast, but I only applied for one. I really think the process should be apply for 100.
Exactly.
And then work out the schedules as they come through.
Yeah.
Right? Is really the better method. I really thought that I would book my first one, do it, and then make my decision. So I think I did the right thing there. I didn't book a whole bunch of them and then say, oh man, I hate doing this. So I booked one. I liked it. Now we're
that's part of the journey.
Now we're gonna mash on the gas, right? And we're gonna try to get on as many podcasts as we possibly can, and enjoy ourselves doing it. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I cannot wait to really dive deep into getting on other people's podcasts. I've only made one appearance on someone's podcast before I was even a podcaster, so I didn't know it all.
Are we technically podcasters?
I think
can we say that?
I mean, we got 10, dude. This is the 10th episode, double digits. You need 2 hands to count our podcast.
I think it's like so many hours of doing something before you can be it.
We can't say we're a master. We're not a master.
What's the master rule?
1,000 hours or 10,000 hours.
10,000 hours of doing something.
You can be you become a master of it.
Oh, okay. It's a lot of hours.
It's a lot of hours, man. It's not easy becoming a master.
How many labor hours are there in a year? 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. 40 times 52 is what?
Uh-oh.
Come on, calculators. Somebody's got a calculator. Give me a calculator. How many hours are in a work year? I think it's 4,200. But I'm not positive. 2,080 work hours in a calendar year. So to get 10,000, it's 5 years.
5 years.
So you have to be 5 years to become a master at something?
Yep.
Okay.
I think that's legit.
I think you could be like a dishwasher master in like a week. I don't think that's necessarily holds true in all trades.
Depending on the trade, yes.
Yeah.
It may take longer, it may take less.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we can say I've talked for more than 10,000 hours in my life. So
Absolutely. You're a master communicator.
I don't think so. I'm a horrible communicator. People
A master talker.
I'm constantly being misunderstood and misrepresented. So
Misrepresented.
or misunderstood, I think.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
Let's dive right in, man,
All right.
before we go off on a tangent and never come back.
Yes, because we can do that very easy.
All right.
But pause real quick before we go into our first topic. If you find anything that we're doing today useful or valuable, crush that like button. Follow us. We're on Spotify, not Instagram, Spotify. We're on all the different platforms. Wherever you listen to, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast, we're on all the platforms.
Yes.
And if you're watching us on YouTube, then make sure that you hit that subscribe button below.
You like the video and then comment.
Absolutely, ask questions.
Ask
We
questions.
love questions. We don't get enough
Absolutely.
questions.
Absolutely. We need more questions.
Yes.
All right. Great deal. I forgot to do that. So, question number 1. How do I make my social media brand unique? And this is by Aiden.
How do I make my social media brand unique?
Yes.
Wow. So first, I think you have to know who you are, and it's going to be different if you're a social media influencer, like an individual person that's trying to brand yourself, or if you're trying to brand your company, right? I'm going to assume this is for your company and not an individual influencer. So it really starts with your company story and your company's persona. And I know it's really hard to think of your company as having its own persona, who it is. Is it, aggressive, fast growth company? Is it a, slow growth company?
You have to have identity, though.
Right, you have to create your identity.
Have to have it.
And, some companies, I have a company that I'm just happy that there's people in there every day having a good time. And I'm totally happy if it's break even. I don't care if it grows really big or not because I just love doing it. Hosterian, I care that it grows because I have a lot of employees, a lot of customers, and I have to make sure that they all get paid. And I want to grow the company so that we all have, help. It's a career-based company, right? It's not my other company's, 95% of my employees are part-timers running through it, right? So I never had great upside expectations there. So really create your company persona. Who is the company? How does it talk?
What I was hearing was goals.
I think your goals are part of your persona, right? Knowing what your goals are for the company will help you build that company persona and how it's going to talk, right? Wendy's online has knocked it out of the park, right? Wendy's has said, you know what? They have embraced an Henri Ginger like nobody else, right? That little redhead is Henri, and she will talk smack on every other restaurant in town.
Yeah.
Right? That's brilliant. But, a McDonald's, I don't think is going to have the balls to do that. And I think knowing your company's persona is how you start the process of making a unique social media profile.
So let's talk about that. How do you create a persona? Like, what are the things that you want to make sure that you have in there to make sure that you can say that, okay, this is us?
It's exhausting. And we have some worksheets that we do that with, right? So, literally, if you do it right with your team and your consultants, you should almost want to fight them by the time you're done, right? Because it is so exhausting. So if you take your core benefits for your company, like what does your company do for somebody?
Okay.
And you say, well, we help people find cars. So there's lots of companies that help people find cars. What makes you unique? Right? And then you say, well, we help people find cars that are more affordable. So a lot of people do that. So it's really asking that so question so many times that you're so annoyed that you really drill down to what your true core benefits are, right?
That's tough.
I help people find affordable sports cars in the Miami area, right? okay, now we know what we're talking about. Now I can start building that persona
I
for
help
somebody.
people find sports cars with bad credit.
Exactly. Yeah. Not that the sports cars have bad credit, but
Yeah.
the person looking for the sports car
It
might
has
have
bad
bad
credit.
credit. Yes. Sports cars don't have credit. So sorry that.
I just love it because
I
you're
took
so
a left
literal.
turn.
You're so literal with it. I didn't realize I even said it like that. And you couldn't step over it. You just couldn't do it.
No, I couldn't. Sorry.
Don't be. I love it. I love it.
So I would say step one is really find your company's persona and write it down and make it, literally say, and get, sexist and racist about it. Is my company
male
or female? Is it black, white, Hispanic, Indian? Like, who is my company's voice, right? And sometimes, like, I think if you're Pepsi or Coke, you go really generic with that, right? I'm an American. But the kid on YouTube, the black entrepreneur, he knows exactly who his audience is,
right?
And he nails it every single time,
Yeah.
right? He doesn't have, he doesn't have the followers that Behiza has, but
he talks the language, he looks the look, he walks the walk,
and he knows exactly who he's talking to, and I'm positive that his audience is buying his merchandise left and right. Right. So knowing who you are, knowing who your brand is, and it's okay to get wildly specific, and you can get down to, what gender, what race I am, what your business is, and who you're going after, or you can be generic like Coke and Pepsi. I would say Coke and Pepsi is the harder game. Right?
They're so big they have the opportunity to do that at this point.
Yes. I think it's the better game to play long term, the little more generic of a persona and not get wildly specific of, like, so Hosterian, our core right now, we're business solutions, right? Online business solutions, but we are moving to private clouds for managed service providers and SaaS providers.
Custom private clouds.
Custom private clouds for managed service providers and software as a service providers. So we're really honing in on that, and then we know, because we know what products we have, we know who our audience is. Now we can speak uniquely to our audience through our social media.
And I think that's part of making your brand unique, is that if you want to make it unique, you have to know who the hell you're talking to. And then you can talk to that person, because if you're not talking to the right person, they don't care what you have to say.
But I've been researching, and this is going to go way off topic for a second. And when you talk about social media, people always think about the audiences that you create in social media. A lot of times, when you get into the depths of, like, who am I talking to,
Mm-hmm.
and I've been reading more and more about, because Facebook they all do a great job of being able to put this data in front of this user,
right?
And what I've just recently been reading is most marketers try to force that. They try to literally make content specifically for or they try to make generic content and give it to a specific group of people.
Right.
And what I'm reading right now is that is actually fighting Facebook's algorithm. That Facebook knows what the content is, it knows who it's intended for, and you should not try to really focus in on that target. That you should make just specific content for people and share it to a wide audience.
And let Facebook do its thing.
And let the algorithm of the people that actually like it and click it and share it and talk about it, let Facebook build that audience of who actually likes that content. So make specific content to a wide audience. I have not tested that yet at all. I'm just now starting to read about that kind of approach. Mm-hmm. But it's really intriguing to think about, let Facebook do its job instead of thinking that I know.
Better than Facebook that has a million different points on each person to say who they are.
Yeah.
What they
like.
like.
And you might end up finding out that you thought that your client was a 45-year-old mom that likes Mercedes and BMWs, and that might be your core audience, and it might have been for years. But if you try this different approach, you might find out that your product is attractive to 25-year-old women that have had alcohol problems, right? And you just don't know that until you kind of let Facebook run on its own algorithm.
See, and I think I'm glad you brought that up, because when it comes to try to identify your company's persona and try to figure out who your ideal client is, that's scary. Because you have that's a gut check right there. Because you have to say, okay, listen, these are the people I'm going to sell to.
Yeah.
Right? and it feels like you're going to exclude other people by saying that.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the scary part, because no business owner wants to say that. Okay, I'm going to turn away business. Everybody was like, no, I could do this for everybody. Just come talk to me.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you can't do that, because you're everything to everybody. You're nothing to everybody.
I have learned that the hard way, and I don't. I'm a kind of guy that I had to learn the same lesson multiple times before it really sinks in.
I don't think you're unique.
I've learned it.
A lot of people are like that.
I've learned that lesson multiple times in my life. I'm really trying to make sure that this time that I've learned it, I'm embracing it and moving forward. I started watching over the weekend. I bought Discovery Plus. It's a new Discovery now has it came out January 4th, so I just bought it last week.
Sweet.
And I bought it because my mom wanted it when she was there watching kids. But I started watching this Undercover Billionaire show.
Interesting.
And the very first episode, and I forget the guy's name, but he's really entertaining to watch, really smart guy. He says you should find your customer first and then build the product after that.
Now that's interesting.
And that's totally opposite of everything that I've ever done. I've always built a product and then tried to find customers to use it. Or I found a problem, built a product to solve that problem, and then went out and tried to sell it to people that were problem aware. And I've never tried to find a buyer and then sell them something. So it's a different approach, and it's something
I mean, it definitely, it's almost like a test at that point, right? Because you're like, okay, do people even need this?
Yeah.
But at the same time, if it's like a problem and you're fixing a problem, do people care about the problem?
Yeah, I mean, there's been problems that I've solved, and I found out that nobody really cares. Like, you don't care about that problem, I guess. So move on with life, I guess.
So, I mean, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Man, I think you may just have to get Discovery Plus, man.
Yeah. So I think we're digressing again. Let's go ahead and move on to the next question.
Yes. Aiden, thank you for the question.
Yes, thank you.
All right, this next question is from Lynn. It says, how do I raise brand awareness across social media?
Okay, these are different questions than I normally get for social media. So,
yes.
We live under, how do I raise brand awareness?
Across social media.
Across social media. So the first thing that you have to do is decide where you're going to invest in. And you should look at social media as an investment every time you do it, because you're investing your time, right? You're paying salaries, you're taking your time, you're doing those things. So each social media network that you're going to invest in is an investment, right? And you should invest appropriately to each social media platform. We, for a long time, did not go into Instagram because Hosterian is a hosting provider. We couldn't figure out how to properly take pictures and put them on. And Instagram's very image.
It's all image and video.
All images, or was all images. But now that they have Reels and TikTok's really hitting off, they have IGTV now, and they also have Reels. So we're currently working on our process on how we're going to implement Instagram into our daily lives. And we think it's going to be mostly the clicks and bricks, right. And it's going to be very heavy on the video side and not really a whole lot of still images. So when we make that decision, we're doing it today with a little bit of forethought. Whereas when we went into Facebook, it was just, Facebook's here. They're allowing business pages. We should do that, and we did that. We got our name, I didn't have a whole lot of forethought in how I was going to use Facebook. We have a better idea today, right?
Absolutely.
And then if you're going to do TikTok, it needs to be TikTok-able content, right? It can't be TikTok-able content. It can't be all serious all the time, right? It's going to have to be pretty entertaining and get your point across in 15 seconds to a minute, right?
Which is tough.
Which is challenging. and if you're going to do it, I would highly recommend trying to do it in 15 seconds, right? And those 15-second videos get watched wildly more than the minutes. So it's come up with a plan for each single one of them. And then I think the best piece of advice that I got, I don't even know where I got it from, and it's something that we're working on today, is you want to take your core benefits, it's probably Gary Vee, your core benefits for each one of your products,
okay.
And for each landing page that you make, you want to make sure that core benefit is talked about on that landing page. And for that core benefit or that core problem that you're solving, you want to have multiple pieces of content about that specific core benefit. So you want to have a video about that core benefit. You want to have a blog article about that. You want to have a press release. You want to have pictures. You want to have a cartoon. You want to have an infographic. You want to have all of those assets for each one of your core benefits. And then potentially, it's exhausting, you might want to have those core benefits, those assets for each one of those core benefits be different assets for each channel that you go on.
Oh, man.
Right? So I think
geared for that platform.
Geared for that platform. Like generally, your Facebook and your Facebook and your LinkedIn can generally be the same content, but it definitely does not always transfer into Instagram, Pinterest,
or Twitter,
or TikTok. Right? So, and I'm not saying you need to be on all of them. You need to pick a horse and run with it. And my biggest recommendation there is whatever horse that you pick, you better run that damn horse. Don't just pick it and let it sit there, right? It'll die. It will absolutely die, right. And then it'll be stinky, and you'll have to shovel it out at some point because it's just not good. It's not good for your business. It's not good for anything. So having a social media profile that's not active is horrible, right? People are going to, literally, I've had it before, people call and say, are you out of business? I'm not seeing a post in 3 months. Like I've had that conversation with people before.
I mean, I've thought about that. I've had that thought myself. Like, man, this company hasn't posted anything in a while. Like, I wonder if they're like doing okay.
Yeah.
It's the first thing that came to my mind.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think that a lot of businesses think that, oh, the social media is this thing that I have to have, and it's more like a business card, but it's really more like
it's your brand.
It's a window into your business for your potential users, right?
I like that.
It's as important as your website. It's as important as the sign on front of your building. It's as important as your billboards were 10 years ago. It's as important as a Super Bowl commercial.
Absolutely.
Right? And that's just the way it is. So
in this day and age, absolutely.
Right.
At the end of the day,
and by saying Super Bowl, the content that you put on Facebook being different than Instagram, it would be the same as if you made a commercial for the Super Bowl, and you also made, for the same product, you made a commercial that was going to go on a TLC after school special. Right? It would not be the same commercial.
Right.
You would produce different content for each one of those shows.
Right.
Right? And you wouldn't worry about, oh, is the NFL going to not be popular in a couple of years, or is this Lifetime show not going to be popular after a couple of days? You don't think about that because you want to just capture those eyeballs when they're there. And you want to capture them on the most popular platforms and where the people are, because if the people are there, you can get their eyeballs for cheap or free, right? And if you can create something that goes viral, then you can definitely get them for free.
I mean, that's part of the reason why social media is so important. Because if you have that commercial, the first thing they're going to do is what? They're going to go to Google. They're going to try to find you.
Yeah.
Right? So if you have social media, that's going to be some of the first stuff that pops up. Your Facebook page is going to pop up like almost instantaneously.
Yeah, I forget the statistic, but it's a pretty high percentage of people that research a business online before they make a purchase. I think it's anywhere between 60 and 87%, right? For somewhere in there of people that research a business online before they make a purchase with them. And
I think it was higher than that.
You think it was higher?
I think it was higher than that. I think it was in that range for like local intent.
Okay.
But for the people that are actually looking online before they make a purchase, I think it was like 90. It was crazy.
Can somebody look up the statistic on what's the percentage of people that look up a business online before they do business with them? We'll try to get that statistic and give it to you. But the important thing to note that it's, regardless of what the actual statistic is, it's a lot of people. You do it, I do it, everybody does it at some business. So where they're going to research you is the platform that they use. I talk to a lot of younger people today that don't have a Facebook account. They only have Instagram.
That's crazy.
I think it's crazy. My daughter will not have a Facebook account. She's like, I'm not going to use it, Dad. I'm like, well, you could use it I'll send you pictures. But she will not get a Facebook account. She only has Instagram and TikTok. So they're going to do research on your business in 10 years from now via audio, right. Hey Alexa or Hey Siri, or on their social media platforms that they use, right?
I found it.
You found it? What is it?
85%.
85%. So I was right. I said 60 to 87, somewhere in there. So 87% of the people that make a purchase from a company research them online, and it doesn't say, how online. It could be Google, Yahoo, Bing. Yahoo and Bing still exist. They're out there.
It could be social media.
But more and more, it's Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, right?
Right.
That they're doing that research.
Absolutely.
So if they're thinking about doing business with you and they go to their social media profile that they use and don't find you at all, that's better than finding a derelict account.
Correct.
Because they don't find you on Instagram, they might say, oh, they just don't have an Instagram account. Let me go to Facebook or Google. But if they find something that's dead, they're probably not going to do business with you.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Right.
'Cause, I mean, I can make a in their defense of them if they just didn't have it. Like, okay, they don't have that social media platform. Cool.
Right, because there's hundreds of social media platforms now, right? I mean, there's hundreds, Thriller, TikTok,
Parler. I think that's going to waste then, actually.
I don't know what they're going to do with Parler. The Amazon kicked them off. But yeah, there's hundreds of different platforms.
And a new one's going to be popular next month.
Snapchat, yeah. There's kids right now looking at how do I take out TikTok? I promise you there is, right?
Right,
and good for them. They should be trying to do it.
Wait,
right?
TikTok wasn't even TikTok, right? It was first Musically.
Well, I don't know if there was a Musically and a TikTok at some point, and then they merged. Is what I think.
I thought they were. It was all for like it was a similar thing like MySpace. It was all for people with music.
Yeah,
I'm not transformed some.
I am not a TikTok historian, so I don't know how they became, what the relationship with Musically was. When I first started using TikTok, which is a few years ago, for me, you got on later.
You started making content.
I started making content a few months ago, but I was a TikTok troll for a long time. It was TikTok, and the little record that spun was a Musically record.
Right.
Right, and it was like branded Musically. So I think for a time there was two different apps, Musically and TikTok, and they finally merged them. But I'm not 100% positive on that. Don't call me out on it. Don't yell at me in the comments because I'm clearly not a TikTok historian. So moving on.
Yeah. So Lynn, hopefully that answered your question. The bottom line is that you can figure out which platform works best for your business. So you're going to have to do a little bit of research on yourself so you have your own personal identity and you know about your business, and then research that platform and make sure it makes sense for your business.
And I would say right now, B2B, Facebook, absolutely every business owner or most business owners are on Facebook. Twitter, and LinkedIn and Twitter are your muscles right there. Yep. If you're B2C, I would be Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok. Snapchat as well. Snapchat filters for when you're locally, and and it's not a social network, but I love advertising on Waze for local businesses. Man, if users are using Waze and your business pops up as they're driving past it, it's huge.
Waze is starting to come up now, man.
Yeah.
And it's because of how they point out like accidents and stuff like that. And now Google's doing that now too, but
I think did Google buy Waze?
Oh, they did?
Who owns Waze now? Somebody bought Waze, and they stepped up quite a bit.
I know they partnered up with Ford a little while ago. So now that's the integration for all their maps.
Oh, really?
GPS in Fords.
Okay.
Thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. So I struggle with that. Like my Jeep has Google or Android in it, right? Like enabled, and my Jeep's an expensive Jeep. But I always am concerned with stuff like Apple Audio or Apple Auto,
Apple Play,
and,
whatever.
No, Apple Auto and Google Auto, like Android Auto, because I mean Google has just discontinued product lines before, right? And companies like Apple have ceased to exist. And I have this vehicle that has this technology built into it that is very proprietary. I just always am concerned about how that long term is going to affect me. So Waze can go through an acquisition tomorrow, right? And you're in your car, and they could just go. The new company go, yeah, I'm not going to do that line of business. I'm not going to do that with Ford anymore. How do I get my updates? Do we know yet who owns Waze? Google did buy Waze. I thought they did. Okay. So I think what happened was Google really liked the accident avoidance and the push notification for the
spotting out police officers,
which I believe is illegal. In reality, I think it's avoiding police, but we'll let them play that out.
I mean, that's a whole other conversation right there, man.
But I think Google really liked that push notification to them from the end users to the maps.
That's right up Google's way. Like,
and Google had the maps, right? So they were able to really improve Waze by underlining Google's maps, but then having the community behind it was
That
huge.
makes sense, man.
Yeah.
So I do remember when they changed that. It was so much easier to find. Oh, this route is bad. There's an accident on that road. I can see.
Right.
It's bad right there.
Yep.
All right.
So Google looks at the maps a little differently than Waze does, right?
Yes.
Google looks at how many phones are on that road to say how much traffic's on it, whereas Waze looks at what people are saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a cool approach.
Yeah. Awesome.
But their advertising platform is pretty cool. Like you can pop up on Waze devices
that's really
as
cool.
people are approaching your business
That's really cool.
at specific times, right? So Taco Bell can like literally be like, "Hey guys, you're stuck in traffic.
Hungry?
Taco Bell's right here. Make a left turn. Hit your blinker right now and get in here."
Hit your blinker right now.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right, let's keep on moving along. This next question is by Mac. And Mac says, what are the best ways to increase my clothing website traffic through social media for free?
Can you say it again? Closing or clothing?
Clothing.
Okay, so he's got.
A clothing website.
Okay.
It didn't specify if it was like a drop shipping thing or not, but it's a clothing website and wants to know how he can increase his traffic without spending a ton of money doing it.
Yeah, so backlinks are huge. Writing content is huge. Being guests on writing guest blogs for other people is huge. But social media, my mom runs a online poker tournament for a charity.
That's awesome.
It's Raise It Up for Autism Support. We have a lot of autism in our family. I've got an autistic child. And I told her, I said, "You're not going to like what I'm going to say.
Uh-oh.
You have to post more, right? You have to post every single day and multiple times a day." On a clothing brand, I think it's hit and miss. Again, knowing who your audience is, knowing what type of clothing you have is fantastic. If you have something specific, like, so what a lot of the print-on-demand kids do, or guys, people, I guess. I don't know. I'm generalizing. I don't know why I think all print-on-demand entrepreneurs are children. Like one of the coolest techniques that I've seen is, I love the TV show. I love a lot of TV shows, but let's just go with, I like Letterkenny, right? It's a great TV show. They have a lot of catchphrases inside that TV show that aren't copywritten. So if I was going to do a print-on-demand business tomorrow, where I was printing T-shirts, I would take a quote from that TV show to print my T-shirts. I would start a Letterkenny fan page, and I'd invite everybody that I could that liked Letterkenny into that fan page, talk about Letterkenny, and then drop those T-shirts with Letterkenny quotes on them into that that Facebook group that talked about Letterkenny fans. So I'd start a fan page, and I would sell T-shirts that had catchphrases from that TV show that weren't copywritten in there. So if I was print on demand, that's how I would do it. If I was trying to create like a North Face brand or something like that, it's a much harder road, I think, than the Snickers bar on the checkout line kind of thing. You have to get people on your brand.
Right.
So I would find 1,000 influencers on Instagram that I thought would meet my demographic, and I would try to DM 50 to 100 of those every single day and say, "Hey, I would love to send you a free piece of clothing. All I'm asking you to do is to wear it and take a screenshot and do a shout out for me." Right? That would be a very affordable way to get your brand out there to mass amount of people's. And at some point, I've had T-shirt lines, and I just took 100 T-shirts and started mailing them to people, and with a note saying, "Hey, love it if you could wear this T-shirt on your next adventure, or the next time you're in a TV, next time you're doing a shoot or something. If you wear this T-shirt, I'd very much appreciate it." And sometimes they do, most of the time they don't. But if you reach out, I think with the ability to direct message influencers today, I think it's huge, right? And
that's the way to go. He also asked for free. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, dude, all you have to do is just find these people on Facebook, which are, on IG, send them a message, and you can cut and paste, right? So you just copy the message over and over and over and over again, make them an ambassador.
Don't go too fast. If you're copying and pasting DMs, don't go too quickly. Wait a couple minutes between each one of them. If Instagram thinks you're a bot, they'll bump you.
Right.
They'll shadow ban you and all kinds of stuff. So go slow. Use a human pace. Don't use a robot pace, and just get the work done. Ask.
Closed
Keep
mouths
asking.
don't get fed.
No.
You know. Yeah. So I think the influencer one would probably work the best for someone that's not trying to spend any money, because that's just your time. And if you're not trying to spend the money,
And don't discount small influencers that fit in your niche. Right, an influencer that has a couple thousand followers. I mean, that could be
if they're active
5 or
followers,
6 T-shirts sold.
Right.
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 I mean, that,
And if the right 5 or 6 sell it, they're going to tell their friends.
right.
They're going to take.
And
their
I
photos.
sell T-shirts, man. And if you're making them, depending on how you're doing it, print on demand, I hate because the margins are so low. But I love buying T-shirts for $7 and selling them for $24. I love it. Like it's fantastic.
Well, you split the money 3 times.
Yeah. It sucks carrying inventory and buying those up front because to get $7 T-shirts, you got to buy 100. Right. And to get good quality, I really, if you're doing retail T-shirts, I love Next Level as my core brand.
Absolutely. I mean, they're comfortable.
Super comfortable shirts. Really
you work out in them.
Yeah.
You can do whatever.
That's my favorite T-shirt to resell is with my logos and stuff on them. But
I'm a fan of Gildan, man. I love Gildan.
Gildan's a good second choice for me. Gildan and Champion, I think, are my next 2 favorites after Next Level. But
so I guess it would depend on what type of clothing line he has. Is it print on demand? Is he
absolutely
based on bulk? Is he doing drop shipping?
Yeah.
All those can bring up a different strategy to make sure that works.
Yeah, so I think, to really know what we would need to talk about and really create a plan, we need to know specifically what kind of clothing they're doing. Print on demand is easy because you can do hundreds of different designs and try out all different kinds of things there's no capital expense in trying things with print on demand. You can literally build the shirt, build the design, and put it out there and see if it sells. So, and I would recommend if you're doing that, as soon as you get a shirt that sells, go ahead and hire a printer and get your inventory in, right? And carry that line, because you only need to sell 1/3 of your inventory to break even, and then the rest is all
profit
upside. Yeah.
Awesome.
But you have to have a warehouse and all that other stuff. It's
place to house it in.
Yeah. I would not recommend anybody going into the clothing business by itself. It's just a tough one.
So what if they're doing drop shipping?
Drop ship clothing?
Is there a brand? I mean, it's like
I don't know. I don't know.
I feel like it could be.
My biggest complaint about drop shipping business is the time it takes to get the product. I mean, my average drop shipping is, AliExpress is where most of these people are doing drop shipping from, and the average is 12 to 28 days before you get it. And in our society today, man, with Amazon,
that's forever.
People want that shit like in an hour from now. I got Uber Eats. I can get I'll tell you what, this right now, if you take away COVID, was built for me. Right, I can have White Castle delivered to my house at 3:00 in the morning.
You ain't got to talk to them now.
Don't even have to talk to anybody. It just shows up, right? Like we've finally come past the only food that gets delivered is Chinese and pizza. Right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's great.
Awesome. All right.
But when you're in business, those are the expectations people have, right? You tell somebody they're going to wait 22 days to get a product, they better really want it. You better have a very unique...
That's tough.
You better have a unique, defensible position with that product before they're going to do that, right? I don't think people are going to wait 22 days for a T-shirt.
It'd have to be a crazy deal for me to want to do it.
Right. I struggle with waiting 28 days for 500 T-shirts. Right? Like, I don't have it in a couple of days. I'm like, what's going on? My Printmaster's got COVID. I'm like, well, get a new one, dude. I need this. I need it turned around, right? Like, why am I waiting? I got my shelf's empty. I need to fill it, right? So,
yeah, you're right, because Amazon changed the game with that. I have Amazon Prime. I keep Amazon Prime with the intention of knowing I'm going to have things in 1 or 2 days.
Everything has changed it, right? Amazon's changed it. Uber's changed it. I used to have to wait hours. I'd have to call the taxi in the suburbs. You had to call the taxi cab the day before you were leaving to the airport for him to show up right? Because if you call them 2 hours before you need to go to the airport, you might not get one in the suburbs.
Right.
Right? So Uber's changed it. Uber Eats has changed it. DoorDash, Postmates, all those guys that are doing this on-demand stuff have changed the expectation of availability for products and services.
And all they did was just cater to what people want.
Right.
Instant gratification.
Yeah. I mean, Carrot, I can hire somebody to come change a light fixture in my house in a couple of hours. Right?
So it's like, why should I do this myself?
Yeah. I mean, it's Tinder for stuff.
Tinder for stuff.
Like, it's great.
Awesome. All right, so Matt, hopefully that answers your question, Matt.
You got my underlining tone there, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
I did.
Sorry, guys.
I'm trying to keep going so I don't
Yeah.
you'll go off on it.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. All right, so this next question is by Thomas, okay? And Thomas asks, I'm a photographer. I post a lot of photos on my social media platforms. But the thing is, I don't know how to write my captions. What should I do?
Oh, wow. So he's posting pictures, but he should hire somebody from Fiverr. Or get a VA, a virtual assistant, right? Upwork has assistants for, I think the lowest we paid was $4 an hour for a virtual assistant. And I don't think a $4 an hour virtual assistant would be the right person to do that job. But I think on Fiverr you would definitely do it. I watch probably 4 hours of YouTube how-tos a week.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
That's quite a bit.
Like, it probably on the low side, right? Sometimes if I'm really trying to learn something, I'll watch, probably 10, 20, 30 hours on a specific topic trying to learn it. But every week I probably watch 4 hours of just how-tos, do different stuff. So, if there's one thing in the world that I love doing, it's learning. And I like learning
YouTube,
new things all the time. So, and I don't like traditional learning, so I love YouTube because it teaches me how to do it. Again, no affiliation, but I would sign up for Skillshare. They have Skillshare is like a Udemy, but it's subscription based, or even find a Udemy course on how to write captions for my images on Instagram. Right? I'm sure there's a class on that that can teach you the do's and don'ts. If you want to do it on your own, my advice would be don't be vague, right? Just really describe the picture in a way. He's posting on all the social media.
Yeah.
So help me out here. If I see a picture on social media, do I need to caption that well, or do I need really tags?
I would say tags. I mean, if it's on Facebook, I would say the caption.
Right.
If it's
Because-
on IG, I would say the tag.
But an image isn't like a video on YouTube where you have to do really clickbaity title to get
image is
people to
great. I'm
even
gonna
look
look
at it, right?
I'm going to scroll through, the image is awesome, I'm going to stop and be like, what's this? And then
Right.
I'm going to go to the caption.
Yeah, you want troll stoppers, right? You want the guy that scrolls, you want a scroll stop image is what you want to post. Because you want them to stop scrolling, like, wow, look at that. So
Yeah.
sunsets, all the landscape stuff. I love looking at that stuff.
I could look all day. Like it's the mountains and the water, dude.
Yeah.
I think I send my wife like 5 of those a day. Like, oh, we got to go to this place and check
Yeah.
this out.
So for stills, I'm not. I'm a film guy and video guy more than I am a still photographer person. I do appreciate the art, but I have not done. I mean, I think we've only built one or two photography websites in my life. So I would lean on Skillshare and Udemy and take some classes about those things. And if I didn't want to do it myself, I would hire somebody from Fiverr first, and then try to rope them into a consistent lower fee to do work for you long term.
There you go.
Or I would find somebody on Upwork to do it. The other thing that I would do is if I was really trying to start a business is I would really seek out a good writer and offer them equity in my company if I was just starting, if I didn't have any money at all.
Yeah.
I would say, hey, I'm doing this.
That's
I'm
a
getting
great
a good
idea.
traction. Would you like to partner with me and be my caption writer? If you think captions are that important, then and you don't have any money, then that means your business isn't really worth anything yet anyway. Give up, a couple points of your company so that you can have a good content writer, and maybe, hopefully, you get something way more than just a caption writer
Right.
out of that relationship.
One of the things I learned in the insurance industry when I first got in was that one of my mentors told me that 50% of something is a whole lot better than 100% of nothing.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right?
All day. All day.
All day.
Yeah.
My advice here for Thomas, some things I've used, because like some of the social media platforms that I'm running, simple. Sometimes I won't even say anything. I'll just put an emoji. Sometimes I'll just put one or two words.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll take catchphrases and songs that are popular.
Right.
Right, and put that in there. So I would say, kind of like mimicking what we were talking about before. Know your brand. Know like who your company is going after, the people you want to do pictures for, and if you can find what those people like to listen to, put captions to those songs.
Yeah.
Take a lyric in there, right?
Yeah.
Go Google top hip hop songs trending right now. Take a lyric from one of there and put it in there.
Oh yeah, using song lyrics to push that.
Right.
I don't know if all titles. I don't know the copyright rules around copying using lyrics.
Well, I mean, as long as you're not like making money off of that, I think you can say it.
Okay.
But you can't make money and not give them their share, right?
Okay.
Like you don't own the rights to it, but it's
There's a lot of lyrics that are generic enough, but there's probably some lyrics that you just can't use, and I don't know.
So you may want to check some laws on that.
Yeah.
You may want to check some laws.
Like I don't think you can use Ice Ice Baby. I don't think Rob's gonna sue you for it, but I'm pretty sure he's got that copywritten. Right? So
yeah. Well, he went to war for that. So.
Yes, he's been to war a couple times for that song, I think. So I think that's a great, using song lyrics, using quotes from famous quotes would be a good way to do
Famous
that.
quotes, great, especially for photography. I mean, you can take a lot of motivational quotes and just slap that on there and have
Right.
someone kind of like dive into it.
I guess the last tip that I would have on that, we've only got about 9 minutes left in today's podcast, would be when you're taking the picture, bring a voice recorder with you and literally just in the voice recorder, say what you're thinking about that picture before you take it or while you're taking it, and use your actual thoughts of when you were creating that picture
cool.
as the caption.
That's really cool.
Is what I would, if I had to come up with a solution for it that was operational, that I could continue to replicate over and over,
Right.
I think that's what I would do if I was a photographer. And I need a written word to
Like
go
what you
with my
thought about-
photography.
What you thought about when you took that photo.
Yeah, I think that's how I would do it.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I like that.
Or what the day was like. Like, it was a chilly morning in Alaska as I was taking this picture of this sea otter. Right?
It brightened up my day.
Yeah, like, something like that. But, move forward.
Yeah, so be a poet too, Thomas.
Yeah,
Be a
before our last
photographer and a
question,
poet.
again, if you're liking the content that we're creating, if you're finding any kind of value out of this, please like, share, comment, ask us any questions. We love answering questions. It's probably my favorite thing. It's one of my favorite, top 10 favorite things in the world to do.
Oh, wow.
It's just,
That's up there.
I mean, it's just really BSing, right? It's pretty fun.
Yes, and don't forget to go if you're listening to the podcast. Okay, no matter which platform you are on, make sure you pound that 5 stars, right? And then
Yes.
shoot us a comment. Let us know what you thought about what you heard, something that stood out to you, something you want to hear more about, right?
Any kind of interaction helps us.
Absolutely,
A lot. So
absolutely.
we very much appreciate it. So
We really do.
I think we got time for one more question.
One more question. Next question is by Alicia. She says, which one is better, Facebook ads or making posts?
Oh, I think they're both good. Right?
Both of them.
So if you're going to do Facebook ads, you can lose a lot of money in Facebook ads if you don't know what you're doing really, really fast. And I've lost more than my fair share on bad ads. But when you find a good ad that works, it is money like nothing else. So my recommendation on ads would be go fast, fail fast, and change frequently. Have 5 to 7 different offers that you're running and turn them on and off. Ad saturation is a real thing, right? People see the same ads over and over and over and like, man, I see this too much, and they just kind of go past it. They stop seeing it, right?
What is too much?
I don't know what too much is.
I mean, that's so
I
subjective.
really don't know what it is. Too much is when they stop buying or when it stops working, right? When your cost per acquisition is too high. It depends on what you're trying to acquire. Are you just doing a brand ad? Are you doing a customer now ad? Or are you
what's the
doing a
goal
customer
of
later ad, right? So what's the goal? Ads are customer now ads generally. We run one ad for Hosterian that is brand ad, and it's a customer testimonial, right? That is just out there. And if people watch that entire ad, then they might get another ad for something else. But if they don't, then we never show them another ad again. Or we might through some other way, but not through that from that ad. So brand ads generally are to get them used to your brand, and then run a buy now or buy later kind of ad under it.
Targeting them.
I think making posts that's buy later kind of activity, right? You're doing that because you're nurturing your clients and giving them value of some kind, and then later down the road they might do business with you. Right. If you're doing an ad, you really need them to make an action right then, because you've spent, anywhere between $5 and $100 maybe to even get an interaction with that client, depending on what it is, right? So, both are good. I think they have different purposes. I think you should be posting pretty regularly on your social media, at least once a day, regardless of what you do. If you can get 4 or 5 times a day, I've seen it so many times. When you bump up to 5 times a day, your organic reach goes through the roof.
Yeah,
like it goes
7,000 people in 1 week.
Yeah, when you go from, you can take 2 social media profiles and say, okay, I'm gonna post here once a day, and take another one and start doing 5 times a day. That if you post 5 times a day, it's going to grow exponentially faster, right? It just is. And we have a perception of how many people can see that post,
right.
And most people's perception of how big the world is way off, right? Like you think the city you live in is big, or the suburb you live in is big, or your friend circle's big, or 1,500 followers is big, and it's just not. It's barely scratching the surface, right?
Yeah.
But you can make a lot of money on 1,500 followers, right? If you have the right niche and the right products.
One thing I was thinking about for this one, when this question came through, is that I wouldn't even think about running ads unless you've made posts first.
If you're not doing regular posts, you should not run ads.
Yeah, that's my very first thing that popped up.
On that platform.
On that platform.
Because if you're running ads on that platform, they're definitely going to look at your profile.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
And if your profile's dead and you're running this ad, they're going to go, this person doesn't care about me.
Right.
But if you ran an ad and then they do research and they see the posts, then that's building confidence and trust, and hopefully you're giving value in your posts.
Like the guy, Boyhiza.
Behiza, yeah.
Yeah, he was
saying mad value. Everything he does is mad value.
And two, one of the things he was talking about in one of the videos we were watching, that you're more likely to get a follower if you have recent activity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, and they showed that you have something on your story and you have a post.
Yep.
So if you're running an ad and you don't have any posts going on, people are like, man, what's going on with this? They're just trying to get my money. They don't care about me at all.
Right.
And
that's for a brand, right? If you're just selling a single product, I think you can get away with it. But if you're running a brand, I think you have to have the page.
Yeah, didn't even think about this, right? Almost all of the sales I made last year were off a video post.
And it's very specifically video posts.
It wasn't even
not the image posts, right? It wasn't any of those.
It wasn't a blog.
It was always when
someone watched the video. It's like, damn, that was helpful, and then they hit me up right away.
So for those that you don't know, Brian's full-time job is sales, and we went through it. We went through every sale that he did last year. Every one of them was a lead that came from a conversation that started from one of the videos that he posted on a tip, trick, how-to video,
right,
or any of those things. So, the power of video is huge.
People love watching videos.
And video coupled with social media, it's the bee's knees.
It is.
Yeah.
So I would say, leer on the side of caution first. Know if you're going inside ad spending that you need to have a budget for yourself, know exactly what it is, and don't cross it. Yes. And don't put more into your ads that you can't handle and not be able to pay your rent or something.
Right. I think another thing that you need to know on your post, you need to know one of two things. Is this post educational or entertainment? And it can be either one, and I think it might be able to be both. If you can pull off both, then you're rocking it.
You're winning.
and then just own that lane, right? If it's entertainment, let it be entertainment. If it's educational, let it be educational. I find that educational posts are the most valuable posts because they provide an immediate value to the person that's watching it.
Yes.
How-tos, I think, are the holy grail. If you can show somebody how to not use you as a service provider,
Trust built.
you get their trust almost immediately, and when they're ready to buy, they will use you.
Or they're going to tell everyone about you. Even if they don't use you, they're going to
Right.
tell their friends.
I think I've
How
used
many
this
how-tos
before.
you don't send me to? You're like, oh, check
Right.
this out, Brian. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, that's awesome.
I think I've used this before. I have watched 100 plumbing videos in my life. I've tried to do 10 or 15 plumbing jobs in my life, and every time I've called the plumber when I was done, right? Because I've screwed it up. I can do a lot of stuff in my world, man, but I cannot figure out plumbing
It's not my jam.
to
dude.
save my life.
I
Right?
just don't want to deal with it. That's my. I just don't.
I always have a leak. Always have a leak. No matter what I do. The plumber comes, he goes, "Nee, nee, nee," and it's better. So make how-to videos, right? The plumber that's making this is how you change out your sink. If I try to do it myself and when I screw it up, guess who I'm calling? The guy that I watched. The first person I'm calling is the guy that I watched the video on how to do it, right? So that is what it is. Thanks for watching today, guys. We really appreciate you.
Or listening.
Or listening. However you are interacting with this content, we really appreciate you.
Yes.
We're going to keep doing this. We're here for at least 100 episodes. So, that's almost 2 years of content that we're going to be creating. Every Tuesday, we go live on Facebook, and we publish to our podcast channels the following Tuesday, so you can listen to it on your
6 a.m.
podcast at 6 a.m. So it's been a lot of fun. If you want to get a hold of me, my email address is Ken, Ken.Cox, COX, at Hosterian, HOSTIRIAN.com. My text phone number is 314-370-2871. Text me, please. I want to hang out with you. I want to talk. Ask me a question. Your question can appear on the podcast. If you need advice, business advice, cloud advice, any of those things, I'm happy to help.
Yes.
You can take it. Sometimes it's valuable advice. Sometimes it's not. So, but I will give you my opinion, open and honestly, 100% of the time. That's my promise to you.
I think that's valuable. Honestly, now I think it's valuable these days.
Yes.
People are liars, man.
Yeah.
So thank you guys again for watching. Definitely appreciate it, or listening, whichever way you engage with us here today. If you have questions on what you want the next topic to be, or maybe there's just questions about a previous episode, let us know. We'll definitely bring that out and have that conversation and let you guys know that we have your back in that area that you were interested in, okay? So you can text me at 314-216-2040, or you can email at brian.montgomery@hosterian.com. That is BRIAN.MONTGOMERY@Hosterian, HOSTIRIAN.com. Let's get it.
Get to work.
Make it count.